Hi, Mr. Eaton here, and today we're going to look at trigonometry and actually how to find an angle if we know two sides. So simply, if we are given two sides in a right angle triangle, we can find the size of the angle, and we use what is called the inverse rule. So we use sine -1, cos -1, or tan -1 on our calculators. So using our calculator, if we wanted to find the sine of 23, we would put into our calculator sine 23 equals, and we'd get a value of 0.3907311128. Now if we were asked to find the sine, the angle, for the value of 0.3907311128, we would actually put into our calculator the sin -1, and then we would open our brackets, 0.3907311128, and we would actually find that it actually came to 23 degrees if I rounded it to the nearest degree. Alright, well, use your calculator to find the tan angle for 1/2 or a half. Put the video on pause, come back when you're done, and we'll check and see if you got the answer right. Alright, so we want to find the angle. So it's the angle, and it's the inverse of tan, so tan -1, open brackets 1/2, and we put that into our calculator, and we get 26.6 degrees. Hope you got that one right. Alright, so we need to find the angle, which is down over there. We know that this is a right angled triangle. We know that that's the hypotenuse, and obviously that is the opposite side to where our angle is, and therefore this must be the adjacent. So label your sides, determine which trigonometric ratio you're going to use, and then find the angle. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Right, well, hopefully you recognize that you need to use the sine rule, so opposite over the hypotenuse. So the sine of the angle equals 6/10, and obviously we need to find the angle by itself, so that's be the angle equals the inverse of sine and 6/10. And if we put that into our calculator, we should end up with 37 degrees. Therefore, this angle over here, which is what we're looking for, must equal 37 degrees. Alright, well, here's another one. You need to find what that angle is. First things, of course, is label your triangle, work out which trigonometric ratio you're going to use with regards to that angle, and then find it. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Okay, well, after labeling my triangle, I know that I've got my adjacent and my hypotenuse, and I know that the rule for that is the cos rule. So I'm going to put my information in now. So I'm going to have cos of the angle equals the adjacent, which is 14, and the hypotenuse is 21. I want to find my angle, so my angle, and it's the inverse of cos, so cos -1 and 14/21. And the answer to that, to the nearest degree, is actually 48 degrees. So this angle in here is actually going to be 48 degrees. Hope you got that one right. Alright, well, here's the last one. We need to find the angle. We know that this is a right angle triangle, and we know two sides. So what you need to do is obviously label the sides, work out which trigonometric ratio you're going to use, and then solve for the angle. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready and see if you got it right. Right, well, the first thing I did is I labeled my triangle, and I know this one has to be my opposite because it's opposite the angle. This is the adjacent, and obviously the longer side has to be the hypotenuse. And what do I know? Well, I know adjacent and I know opposite, therefore the rule has to be the tan rule. So next I go, tan of the angle equals the opposite, which happens to be 15, and the adjacent happens to be 26. So the angle that I'm looking for, it's the inverse of tan, and 15 over 26. And when I put that into my calculator, I end up with an angle of around about 30 degrees to the closest degree. Therefore, this angle over here has to equal 30 degrees. So we've been able to find angles using the various trigonometric ratios of sine, cos and tan when we know two sides.